Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. So, when I found this best of, I thought that they had simply misspelled altar in the title. This is one of the few circumstances where an actual shrine probably would have been the favorable outcome. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is Throw RADZC, posted to r/relationship advice September 4th, 2023. My brother's, 27 male, girlfriend, 26 female, has an altar of my child. I'm 34 male, wife is 32 female, brother is 27 male, and brother's girlfriend is 26 female. I'm looking for advice here because this is completely over my head, and my initial reaction to this is probably way off. My brother has been dating his girlfriend for about a year now. She's a nice girl, but at times her behavior is odd and erratic. She asked over and over again to babysit for my kids, girl and boy, 3 and 5. My wife and I have always said no. This weekend we had a barbecue, and she was acting extremely strange, only speaking in a baby voice, not talking to any of the adults, running around with the kids. My wife pulled me aside at one point extremely upset. She's found her in her 3-year-old's room, in her playpen/ball pit area, sucking her thumb, covered in our daughter's blankets, with all of her stuffed animals. My wife was completely confused as to what was going on. And when she asked my brother's girlfriend what she was doing, she responded in a baby voice that she was tired and needed nappies. My wife came immediately to get me, and we both confronted my brother to ask him what the hell was going on. My brother got extremely embarrassed. He said that his girlfriend has dissociative identity disorder, and one of her alters is a 3-year-old girl. My wife and I don't know anything about this disorder, so we didn't really say anything. Just told him to please go get her and keep her out of our kids' room. He went to get her, but within 15 minutes, he still wasn't out. I went to go see what was going on, and his girlfriend was extremely upset, insisting that he calls her Evelyn, our daughter's name. That was the last straw for my wife. She told her to leave. Brother's girlfriend started straight up sobbing, using her baby voice, saying she's confused and doesn't understand why everyone is being mean to her and calling her the wrong name. The night my brother called and admitted that not only is one of her alters a 3-year-old, it's very specifically our 3-year-old. He said he can't talk to her about this because when she's not her Evelyn alter, she doesn't remember anything, and when she's her Evelyn alter, she isn't rational. My wife and I told my brother she's not allowed at family functions anymore, and she's not allowed around our kids. My wife was extremely upset and told my brother that his girlfriend was psychotic, and that she wouldn't understand why he was still with someone like that. My brother is upset that my wife said those things about her, and said he understands we would be upset about her having an alter of our daughter, but she can't help it. And we should be more understanding because it's a disorder due to childhood trauma. Did my wife and I handle this the right way? We know nothing about this disorder, and doing research into it, the medical definition doesn't seem to match the way my brother's girlfriend is acting. Adding from a comment because it seems relevant. She doesn't have an official diagnosis, putting that in bold because people keep asking. Apparently, it was rude of my wife and I to ask if she was getting treatment or had a diagnosis because therapy isn't available to everyone and self-diagnosis is valid. She comes from a very affluent family and definitely has the resources to get therapy and a proper diagnosis. Update 1, September 7th, 2023. So, to start things off, my wife and I have done a lot of research into dissociative identity disorder. Right off the bat, I'll be blunt here, I don't believe in the fad DID or anything that goes along with it. I don't think people are programmed to be systems. I don't think people make fictives over characters from TV or movies. I definitely don't think it's possible to make an alter of a specific 3-year-old girl. I think that's all attention-seeking bullshit. I don't know about the validity of actual DID, if it does exist, because at this point it's being faked so much it's impossible to figure out if it's an actual disorder or not. I definitely don't think if someone did actually have DID, they would be on Reddit casually talking and making videos about meeting the altars and bullshit like that. And no, I don't think being in the DSM proves any validity whatsoever. I do think if you really are convinced you have DID, you probably do have some sort of disorder that you should get checked out with an actual reputable doctor. Now that that's out of the way, my wife and I have heard from my brother after the party. He still thinks we owe his girlfriend an apology. We told him that he owes us an apology for not telling us about his girlfriend's erratic and psychotic behavior. I'm not using the term psychotic to be insulting. I really do think she's experiencing some sort of psychosis. My wife told him that due to his extraordinary lack of judgment in bringing her around our family and our kids, when he knew about this, we didn't really feel comfortable having him around our children without one of us directly there either. We encouraged him to get her to see an actual doctor and get checked out. We told him we'd be willing to help her look for doctors in the area if she needed support, and didn't want to involve her family in this for whatever reason. But we also told him under no circumstances will she be allowed around our children again unless she goes through intensive therapy, realizes what she did was wrong, and apologizes for it. Thanks to everyone for pushing us in the right direction as to what to do. We really appreciate all of your input and comments. And to clarify, I'm not saying DID isn't real. I don't know. I think you all know what DID fad I'm talking about. I don't believe in the social media DID, the meet the altars and watch me switch bullshit. And yes, she does have a TikTok account where she does pretend to be my daughter. Final update, September 11th, 2023. I'm 34 male, wife is 32 female. Brother is 27 male, and brother's girlfriend is 26 female. My wife and I recently found my brother's girlfriend in our 3-year-old daughter's room. She refused to leave and was insisting her name was my daughter's. We found out she is convinced she has dissociative identity disorder, and one of her alters is my daughter. This is probably going to be my last update because we have since cut off all contact with her and my brother, and are in contact with the police. She refused to get inpatient psychiatric help willingly, but her family put her under a 5150. Long story short, she approached our child while she was at the park with the nanny. Luckily, the nanny knows about the situation and removed our daughter immediately, contacted the police, and then contacted us. She tried to tell our nanny that we had told her to pick up our daughter and take her to her grandmother's house. She waited until it was close to the end of our nanny's shift to make it more believable. Luckily, the nanny didn't even engage with her. She just picked up our daughter and walked away, recording the entire incident to have proof. She ran after the nanny, telling our daughter, "Go ahead, Evelyn. Tell her you know me. We're going to go to Grandma's." Her family told us that there has never been any abuse in the family. She has never claimed to them that she has DID, though they have long suspected she has histrionic personality disorder. My brother has not contacted us since this happened, but my wife doesn't want contact with him anyway, and I agree with her. Again, thanks for all of your advice and well wishes. Though she's never allowed around my family again, I'm incredibly happy she's getting the help she needs, and hope her recovery and treatment go well for her. And I wish her the best. Relevant comments. Got my silly socks on. Mentally unwell people are unpredictable. Time for cameras, restraining orders, and a way to defend yourself, and a way for the nanny to do so as well. Opie replied, "We have cameras and have installed more after the first incident on the perimeter of our property, as well as outside of our children's rooms. We're in the process of getting a restraining order, though it doesn't seem likely she'll be leaving the inpatient facility anytime soon." User Fliproot comments, "Don't trust that. They push people through those places quickly, and mentally ill people like that rarely stay on their meds." OP responds, "We're working on getting a restraining order as well." So while OP certainly has some skepticism attached to DID, which is understandable because it's still a researched condition, and it's still being actively explored. It's not my place to comment on whether or not it exists or doesn't. That's for medical professionals to do. What I can say, though, I think it's pretty damn insulting for people who do have DID how much of a fad it's become and how romanticized it's been. It's also probably made it absolute fucking hell for anyone who does have DID to actually seek out and receive help or receive a diagnosis because, now it's trendy, and now every single doctor is going to be looking at you with a raised eyebrow, wondering if you really have it or if you're just simply part of the new trend of kids coming in claiming they have it. There's also a massive flaw in the girlfriend's logic here, because according to the boyfriend, he can't communicate with her about Evelyn because she has no idea that she exists. But Evelyn is apparently able to fully set up a phone, film themselves, upload to TikTok, and have a running TikTok account about that specific altar. So either she does know that she has this altar and is lying to the boyfriend, or the boyfriend is lying to OP. Additionally, there is the massive question about why she was trying to pull Evelyn away from the nanny, what those intentions were. And also, if she doesn't know that she has an altar that's based upon OP's child, why is she actively trying to pull the child away that she has an altar based upon? There is a severe gap in the logic there that definitely paints a pretty sinister picture that makes me pretty damn uncomfortable. So at this point, I guess with just the information that I have from both this story and from Googling things, all I can really do is ask for those of you who either may potentially have DID or for those of you who have met or interacted with someone who has DID. How does this feel? Like, in comparison to what you've experienced? This post was collected by Father, Son, and the Holy Toast, and their tagline is, The Dollar Store Jean Valjean. Or is it Jean Valjean? I don't know. I forgot to check the comments last time for pronunciation, and, well, here we are. The original OP is Darkside HS, posted to r/legal advice. The best of is titled, OP's paranoid and dangerous mother-in-law is suing for grandparents' rights. OP and his wife are on the same page, but unfortunately, they're in New York, the state with the strongest grandparent protections. Today, I was served with papers to go to family court so my mother-in-law can have visitation with my children. A bit of backstory. My mother-in-law is mentally unstable. She believes everyone is hacking her, me included. She's extremely paranoid and tries to brainwash my kids. Tells them I'm hacking her, that climate change is a hoax, crystals have healing power. Admittedly, the last two are no big deal. The first one is a huge deal. The wife and her mother had a falling out over the accusing me of being hacked into her phone. My mother-in-law expressed interest in seeing the kids. We told her if she wanted to see our children, she had to do so under our supervision. She then began gaslighting my wife by telling her me and my wife both have borderline personality disorder and told this to the entire family. Does my mother-in-law have any right to my children out of my supervision? Does she have a case? Should I get a lawyer? If I should get a lawyer, how can I get one if I'm broke? Any and all advice would be extremely helpful. An additional comment from OP. I have a text directly from my wife to my mother-in-law that says that we're not comfortable with having her taking the kids alone, and if she wanted to see them, she had to do so with our supervision. Update. We went to court for our initial hearing in February. I asked for dismissal, citing Troxel v. Granville. The judge agreed that we were within our rights. However, she couldn't grant a dismissal because my mother-in-law requested an attorney. The judge advised she didn't qualify for an appointed lawyer, so she should seek representation through elder law. My mother-in-law begins raising her hands and waving them around, asking if she could be allowed to speak. She states in court that me and my wife bully, abuse, belittle, and swear around the children constantly. The first three are outright lies, and the fourth, so fucking what? She also stated that she never mentioned once being hacked or being obsessed that she was hacked. and that my oldest daughter was the one obsessed with hacking and spying. The judge made no comments and advised her that we weren't keeping her away from the children and that she should seek relief by visiting them under our supervision. Fast forward to a week before the hearing. We have to meet with a law guardian for the children. We show the law guardian all the insane conspiracy theory texts and the texts where she accuses me of hacking her phone. She spoke with the children, and we took our leave. The paperwork we received stated that my mother-in-law showed her a much different conversation. My mother-in-law had deleted the text that made her look bad and copy and pasted several from my wife that made my wife look like a bully, and that she was harassing my mother-in-law. The children outright denied any bullying/abuse and stated to the law guardian that my mother-in-law makes them uncomfortable because she is constantly yelling at them. When they want to leave, she won't let them go, and she won't stop talking about who's hacking her. She obviously supports our position. In the hearing, my lawyer asked for dismissal and requested we be paid our legal fees by mother-in-law as the petition was brought in bad faith. My mother-in-law's appointed attorney couldn't withdraw and refile an amended petition because mother-in-law wouldn't let her, so the judge dismissed and awarded us our legal fees. I haven't seen the judgment yet, but it's my understanding that it was dismissed with prejudice. However, my mother-in-law doesn't live in reality and is going to file another petition alleging that I've brainwashed my children. I wish that were true. They never listened to me. So, I may have another update for you all shortly, but for now, I'll enjoy the victory. The abuse of grandparents' rights is just extremely vexing to me. The original purpose is basically that the grandparents need to prove to the court that their visitation is within the child's best interest, usually in the case of safety. It is not an express ticket that guarantees a grandparent rights to visit with their grandchild. This is usually the variation that we see being weaponized against the parents. In this instance, what's actually really interesting here is that it almost seems the mother-in-law is aware of this. She was very purposeful to make comments about how the children are being mistreated, and how they're being actively neglected or abused, or how their current environment is not safe for them. It's also extremely telling how selfish the mother-in-law is that when presented with, "We're fine with you having supervised visits with the grandchildren," her response is, "Okay, well, I'm going to upend everything and put the kids into a position where they're going to have a law guardian on their hands that's going to pretty much keep an eye on them, and everything's going to be thrown into complete turmoil until I get what I want or until this goes through the court proceedings." There's something incredibly purposeful and sinister with how OP describes the mother-in-law's language regarding the kids. And we know that she is capable and more than willing to manipulate evidence in her favor because she actively doctored and edited and deleted text messages to make her seem like she was the victim in this scenario. Like she was seriously willing to upend everyone's lives because she was required to have supervised visits with the grandkids. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is Pangolin Throwaway, posted to r/mytheasshole February 27th, 2021. Am I the asshole for telling my coworker I'm tired of hearing about her nerdy obsession? So I have a coworker, female 27, who's absolutely obsessed with Transformers. Yes, you read that right. She has a massive collection of action figures and frequently brings one or more of them to work to show off. She talks endlessly about the movies, cartoons, comics, video games to anyone who will stop long enough to listen. She writes a ridiculous amount of fan fiction that she also has to talk about. Almost every vacation she takes revolves going to a Transformers convention, etc. Most everyone else seems to think it's a fun personality quirk, or at least tolerates it, but it drives me bonkers because it's all she talks about. Like, get a life. Last month, a number of us were discussing things we missed the most that were gone/delayed due to the pandemic. Most people brought up visiting family, going to the movies, etc. Guess what this coworker missed the most? Yup, her conventions, which had all been canceled because apparently stuffing hundreds of nerds in a confined space isn't a good idea during a pandemic. I admit that I lost my shit at this point, and I told her, "Oh my god, will you shut up? Nobody cares about your obsession. Find another hobby or just something else to talk about besides a stupid cartoon show and action figures." She clammed up and didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. Since then, I haven't heard her say a peep beyond work-related stuff, which is actually a relief. But other coworkers are saying I was the asshole for telling her to shut up, and that they actually miss her ramblings about fictional robots. One of them even says I'm lucky this coworker didn't report me to HR. I don't think what I said was HR worthy. If anything, I think I did everyone a favor by getting her to stop talking their ears off about something only she cares about. But I'm wondering if I could have worded it better. Am I the asshole? Verdict! Asshole. Top comments. User sick and tired 5590 comments. Yeah, you're the asshole. What did I just read? The way you talk about your coworker shows the level of disdain you have for her. The language you use about her is downright disgusting. You all shared what you missed, and when she shared, you were judge, jury, and executioner. You decided her missing her convention is not worthy of your time, of you listening, and you publicly executed her in a very mean-spirited way. This girl is amazing for even talking with you purely professional stuff. I feel sorry for her. Who the fuck made you the judge of worthy hobbies and worthy things to talk about? Who do you think you are? If you're not interested, do what any other mature adult will do in this situation. Tune her out, nod, and move on. Deleted commenter. Yeah, you're the asshole. I get it's weird, but it's what she's passionate about. I feel the same way when people won't shut up about sports. Edit. Okay, I get it. I'm a piece of shit. Please stop messaging me telling me so. OP updated the post March 1st, 2021, 2 days later. Update for those who care. I'm getting shunned and hated on enough at work that I'm currently looking for another job. I tried apologizing to my coworker and she gave an "it's okay," but still refuses to talk to me. She's back to talking about robots again though, so I think she'll be okay. Don't know for sure if she's on the autistic spectrum, but probably doesn't make a difference. We'll try to be more accepting of people's interests from here on out, even if it's too little too late for my current workplace. So you're allowed to not have interest in someone else's hobby. That's just how it is. But also, it's a pretty just universal common courtesy to at least just be kind to someone about their interests, even if you have no interest in it. Also, gotta love this OP for shaming their coworker for needing to get a life, but how exactly did this end up turning out? Oh yeah, with you being a social pariah, and with everyone enjoying being around her and talking with her. Sounds like you're the one who needs to get a life. And how hard is it just to let her enjoy her robots? She's not hurting anyone, but you are. You give off high school bully vibes. It's kind of sad. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is Constructive Dismissal, posted to r/legal advice August 10th, 2017. Employee threatening to quit and sue for constructive dismissal because she was refused a promotion. I'm okay, right? I manage a childcare center in Ontario, 15 to 18 employees, depending on enrollment and the time of year. I recently had an employee approach me and ask for a raise. She was on holidays and called to tell me if I didn't give her an additional $2 an hour, she wouldn't be returning from her holidays. I told her I couldn't give her the raise as she just had one a month ago and hadn't shown any improved performance that would warrant a raise. I told her I understood if she needed to look for work elsewhere. Lo and behold, she returned to work on Tuesday as scheduled. On Tuesday, she found out her school-age supervisor is leaving at the end of the month and asked me for that position. The position would pay an additional 50 cents an hour. But I didn't feel she was the right person for the job. and I didn't want to promote someone who was only interested in the job because of the minimal extra money. She asked who was going to be given the position, and I responded that I hadn't decided yet, but that I would likely be looking to hire someone new who had some experience with that age group. After that brief meeting, she told me if she decided to quit now, she would sue for constructive dismissal. It came across as a threat. Basically, give me the promotion or I'll sue you. About half an hour later, she called my office and said she needed to leave for the day because she wasn't feeling well. So I'm just looking for confirmation that none of this constitutes a constructive dismissal. I had always understood constructive dismissal to mean changing a person's hours, pay, or responsibility so that their job was fundamentally different from what they were hired for. Not promoting someone doesn't count, right? Relevant comments. Der Spinny comments, quote, "It came across as a threat. Basically, give me the promotion or I'll sue you." End quote. Ironically, this would be a pretty good reason for you to let this employee go, with notice or pay in lieu, as required by the ESA. This isn't an employee you can have a continuing constructive professional relationship. This is someone who throws a temper tantrum and threatens your business if she doesn't get her way. Refusing to give a promotion on demand is not constructive dismissal. OP responds, "This is kind of where my head went. I've documented both conversations, and if she doesn't quit herself, I may choose to let her go once I've found a suitable replacement." To the question of, and what is constructive dismissal? User Yaosa SC2 comments, "For those interested that did not know what constructive dismissal means, here is Google's definitions. Constructive dismissal is where an employer has committed a serious breach of contract, entitling the employee to resign in response to the employer's conduct. The employee is entitled to treat him or herself as having been dismissed, and the employer's conduct is often referred to as a repudiatory breach." Update. August 4th, 2017, 4 days later. Employee out sick with doctor's note following disagreement and threat to quit and sue. Can I still fire her when she returns? Ontario, Canada. I posted here last week regarding an employee who had asked for a raise and then threatened to quit and sue for constructive dismissal when she was denied the raise and then promotion she asked for. This was on Thursday last week. She went home sick Thursday and called out on Friday. Today, I arrived to an email stating she was unable to work all week due to illness. In the email, she directly states her illness is related to last week's disagreement. After her outburst last week, I had intended to let her go this week. I've already covered her shifts for this week and plan to begin interviewing for her position by the end of the week. Can I let her go when she returns from this sick leave, or is that going to look like I let her go because she was sick? What do I need to do to make sure my bases are covered before she returns to work? Edit. I have no objection to paying out a notice period of 2 weeks. She's worked with us about 10 months, or to her claiming unemployment. I just want to be done dealing with her. Relevant comments. Ensign Morituri comments. Now that there is a general understanding that Canadian employment law is different than US employment law, the trend seems to be to discount the common law in these situations in favor of insisting that the relevant employment standards statutes are all that will apply. I've seen it several times from several different posters in this and other subs. This attitude may prove expensive for an employer. In fact, I've seen it happen where an employer insisted that, worst case, they would only be held to the statutory minimum. They ended up paying out 2.5 months' salary plus costs. I won't speculate on the fees they paid their lawyer, but it is safe to say they paid out approximately 10 times what they thought they would have to. When an employee is throwing around terms like constructive dismissal, albeit incorrectly, and then going on sick leave related to disagreements, it's time for the employer to act with caution. OP would do well to consult with an employment lawyer here. User Major Outage comments, "This, cross all your T's and dot all your I's, and then go back and double check, cause it sure sounds like this person is ready and waiting for you to miss one." OP responds, "I'm seriously hoping that she's using this week of sick leave to look for another job. Best outcome would be her finding something else and just never returning. If she does return on Monday, I'll be calling a lawyer to guide me through the termination process." User Shark on Games comments, Why wait until Monday to contact a lawyer? It sounds like you've already made the decision to fire her. Might as well be prepared for when/if she does come back. Lofi responds, as a nonprofit, our budget for legal fees is fairly small. I'd rather not pay for a consult if she's going to quit on her own. Final update, August 22nd, 2017, 8 days after the first update. More detail. Originally, her doctor's note said she would return to work Monday, yesterday. She sent an email at 11 p.m. Sunday night to say she wouldn't be in Monday due to a doctor's appointment. Frustrating because she obviously knew well before 11 p.m. on Sunday that she had an appointment for Monday morning, and still waited until the night before to tell us. But not the end of the world. In her email, she requested that all of her sick days and vacation be paid out to cover the previous week. And even though she already used her allotted sick days for the year and didn't have any remaining vacation, she did not answer any emails or phone calls on Monday, and sent an email this morning, Tuesday, 5 minutes after the beginning of her shift, to say that she was leaving the job due to medical reasons. The doctor's note she attached is seriously suspect. No formal letterhead, different doctor from the first note, etc. But I really don't care, because at least she left on her own. She was also very clear that her record of employment should show that she left due to medical reasons. So I'm sure she's trying to get earned leave, but again, I'm not really worried about it. I had an appointment with a lawyer for this morning, but I've canceled it as it doesn't seem necessary anymore. I've kept all documentation from the past 2 weeks in case it's needed, but I'm hopeful that this is the end of it. Too long didn't read, she quit this morning. So the Oz tinfoil hat theory for this one is, she decided to go to a lawyer to see if she could, attempt to sue for a constructive dismissal. Went to the lawyer, explained the story. The lawyer pretty much said, hey, you fucked up by doing this, by the way. Like, you're actually, in trouble here. Like, they could very well just fire you for what you said there. And she realized, oh shit, this is my reference. They're going to tell people that they gave me a raise, I asked for a higher raise, when declined, I asked for a promotion, and then when declined again, I threatened to sue them for constructive dismissal. Then they fired me. That won't look good, so what's my way out of this? Medical leave. Which very much explains why they're very much pushing the whole I left for medical reasons aspect and no other reason. But hey, that's just my tinfoil hat theory on what may have happened behind the scenes here. Also, I wonder who was feeding her advice, because the term constructive dismissal had to have come from somewhere and inserted into her lexicon. So, someone may have been giving her really bad advice. Maybe it was Reddit.
Well, look what we got here, boys. We got ourselves wandering into the outro territory. Oh, that's crazy. Maybe if we're lucky, they'll take a look and get some gamer subs using code odds at checkout. Yeah, that'd be real cool if they did that. I'm just kidding. Unless...
This is 100% off topic here. So, a lot of times in media, when someone gets a genie lamp, they spend the time trying to either make sure their wish is ironclad or find ways to get around the limits to the wishes. But I've never seen someone threaten the genie or wish harm upon the genie. What's stopping you from just telling the genie, if you fuck up my wishes, I'm going to make your eyes filled with wasps, or something like that? Or even just wishing the genie has short-term memory loss or something so you can get away with just constantly doing wishes. But also, what does it say about you as a person that when given the opportunity to wish for anything you could possibly want, knowing there's strings attached, that the first thing you do is just start wishing for things that actively set harm upon the wish granter? Imagine you're a genie and you come out of the lamp ready to mess with some mortal who's going to be trying to be greedy or something along those lines. And the first thing that motherfucker wishes for is for you to have leprosy. Which then at that point in time, you could just inform him hey, make sure my second wish is perfect and I'll unwish the leprosy. That's a really fucked right out the gate power play. And what's stopping it from not working?